to everyone. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us for this panel. My name is Augie. I'm an investor and partner at CMT Digital. We are a 38-year-old trading and investment firm based out of the US. We've been investing in the space for around 8 years. We've partnered with over 100 companies across the 3 funds that we've raised, including Athena, EtherFi, Axie Infinity, Consensus, Arweave, and many others. And it is my pleasure to be moderating this panel with our esteemed panelists. The panel is titled The Asia Landscape and Market Trend of Virtual Assets. So we'll obviously talk about Asia, and we'll talk about some trends. So first, maybe we can just go around with a quick round of introductions, maybe starting with Stanley.
Hi, good morning. Stanley. I work for HiveMind based in Hong Kong. We are an investment firm focused on crypto, liquid trading, VC, and NFT investments. Headquartered in New York, and we have an office in London. Very excited to be here today.
My name is Steve. I'm co-founder and managing partner of Neo Classic Capital. We are early stage crypto VC based in Miami. We just launched. Actually, the Bloomberg news was released 2 days ago. And before that, I worked at Block Tower Capital, which is a crypto hedge fund VC in New York for 5 years. And before that, I worked at Goldman Sachs, Tokyo, and Singapore for 10 years.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bilal. I'm one of the co-founders at zkex.com. And what we're building is something new, we believe, in the crypto space. We're building a super DEX. And what we term as a super DEX is a CEX equivalent, but on-chain. So most of our team actually comes from CEX background, all the top CEXs, and we understand the trader mindset very well. And what we want to build is something equivalent in functionality. So having spot, having perps, having cross-margin, unified account, giving the tools to the traders to trade the way they want. But on the bottom end, having security, having access to liquidity on multiple chains, having access to buy and sell any token you want, making it very easy and simple, but also secure. And the ZK in our name means zero knowledge. So we want to guarantee security on our DEX post FTX to guarantee asset security, and no one can ever steal or rug you. So that's our proposition in a nutshell to the trading world.
Good morning, my name is Adrian. I'm from Meta Alpha. So our company is the largest crypto wealth management firm in Asia. By the way, we're NASDAQ listed, backed by Bitmain and some of the large institutions. So we manage the crypto wealth for like miners, exchanges, and some of the largest family offices here in Asia. Thank you.
Fantastic. Great. Maybe we can start a bit higher level, and I'd love to hear from each of the panelists. Just generally, what are some of the areas, some of the categories that you think are topical for the investors? I'm curious where you're spending time. There's obviously a lot going on in crypto today. And maybe for the builders, what are you hearing from your clients in terms of areas of interest?
Yeah, sure. I think, especially in Asia, we're very excited to see the regulators are very supportive of the development here. So we see a lot of the regulated kind of crypto initiatives being exchanges or stablecoin or RWA initiatives. So we are quite active in talking to the different projects here. I think that's something unique from a global perspective. For us, I mean, we look at a lot of the trading-related infrastructure type of project. For example, we recently invested in a company called GFOX. It's a London-based FCA regulated futures and options exchange. That's gonna launch actually in April. Very much like a CME type of business. So other than that, we are also quite excited to see a lot of the consumer adoption kind of projects. For example, ourselves, we invest in Napster, the music streaming company, also an esports team, Fnatic. They're both entering the Web3 space through token designs, and then there's new ways of monetization and engagement. So it's very excited to see that happening. I guess in Asia overall, there's also quite excited to see all the Bitcoin layer 2 projects happening here, starting from the ordinal movement. So yeah, excited to see a lot of things happening here, and yeah, we're quite busy looking at different deals.
For us, we look at both application and infrastructure, but we focus a little more on application side. And among application, we look at the financial service and consumer. And within financial service, we are interested in derivatives and the real-world asset tokenization components. On the consumer front, we are interested in gaming and social and IP entertainment. So to add on it, I think Asia has such a huge potential in application space that if you look at the Web 2 era, I think amazing infrastructure usually built by Western hemisphere, and then the region that makes that amazing infrastructure make a more use-friendly or user-facing product was Asia. So we are thinking the same. Maybe in Web 3, Asia, Japan, Korea, or Hong Kong, Singapore might be the region where could drive this amazing infrastructure the crypto space has built for the last 4 years. That's our thesis that we want to focus on a little bit on application at the moment.
So from our side, we talk to our clients on a regular basis, and a lot of them are saying there's two possible scenarios. One is that we are in a pre-bull, and we're just warming things up, and the next 1 or 2 years will be very good. In which case the timescales for people's thoughts for when it comes to investing in certain tokens is more long-term. The other cycle we're seeing is potentially this is a very short bull cycle where it may be even finished by the end of this year, and we go back into another bear. And then this may trigger another psychological kind of trading style, which is FOMO, that you're running out of time. You have to go fast. And what we've seen from other builders when they try to list is they are actually speeding up their timescales. They're reducing their vesting cycles because they feel that they are running out of time. And also from the investor mindset right now as well, I think the traders, they're more crazy than, I would say, the previous bull cycle, where they're going more into higher volatile tokens and trying to make money, but a lot of them are losing their common sense and their rationale and their logic when it comes to investing. So I think certain sectors are definitely hyped up at the moment. When you peel back behind these projects and you see what's actually being built for end users, there's actually a lot of it, there's vaporware. It's not actually nothing real. So, but people don't care at the moment because they have the FOMO. So these two psychological kind of states is definitely affecting what's being built and what's being launched and what's being invested in over this year.
I do see the Chinese or Asian-based developers are quite active here. You look around the conference here, you may see a lot of people quite active. But from the other side, the investors, especially from we call the old money investors, family offices, etc., are kind of only catching up their positions in the crypto world, especially in Bitcoin or ETH or Solana, etc. But I do see a lot of inflows from our clients, but still a lot of them are still not getting into Web3 yet. I do see there's a huge opportunity here in that space. I believe in Europe, in US, I think the institutions are already in the space, a lot of them, to invest into the funds, etc. But in Asia, I do believe there's a huge opportunity.
Makes sense. And I do want to dig into actually points that all of you guys raised, Bitcoin, Asia. But before we get there, maybe just one follow-up question on this topic. You guys shared your areas of interest. I want to ask you the opposite question, which is maybe a little bit where Balal was going. What are some of the subsectors that today you feel are overhyped, perhaps? I don't know, Balal, if you want to go first and be a little bit more specific about some of the areas you were talking about.
Surprisingly, I would say, since we come from a ZK project, and we are when we speak to our investors and our clients as well, we emphasize the ZK means security. And they quickly lose interest. They don't care about the security side of ZK. It's actually ZK in the past cycle in the last year was kind of used for to raise money from a lot of projects. And when you actually look at what they're actually building, it's just a wrapper of some sort. And I see the same attitude being taken by builders with AI in the current cycle. When you actually look at the technology, what they're actually building is just a wrapper of some sort or some nonsense AI use case. But the very fact that it has that keyword is disappointing. So I think people are always moving to narratives where it's exciting and people are kind of moving packs almost towards these certain keywords. And people are bored with ZK right now. Even though ZK hasn't really come to fruition, it's boring now for investors and also for traders to kind of go into this cycle. So I think, unfortunately, AI right now is overhyped. If you come from a technology background, you actually look at what people are building, actually a lot of it is nonsense. So yeah, this is the builder's perspective. I'm sure maybe the other guys have different opinions, maybe.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of the buzz, like you said, like a lot of the crypto projects are more like narratives driven or buzzwords. I wouldn't say any particular projects overhyped, but there's a lot of buzzwords like modular, or like deepin. I think people really just trying to drive like the market momentum based on these narratives. But right now, so for example, like modular engineering, we were just discussing with another investor the other day. It's very common in any software development, like all the like Google and Microsoft, like everything is like on modular basis. But if you apply the narrative on blockchain, people think, oh, it's something cool and exciting. But in terms of building the modular blockchain, might take a long time to deliver. Similarly, I think deepin, people are very excited. But if you look at the real experience of using any of the deepin applications versus the existing products offered by the big tech, I think that the user experience is still quite lagging behind.
I think these two guys already made a great point, so I would just more pinpoint. So for me, overhype, first of all, it's a little bit depends on how you want to describe. Overhype sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. But to answer the question, I think a meme coin, deepin, and then AI and modular. I think those are the four kind of narratives that I think a little overhyped. Of course, among the many people talking about it, there might be real good one, but I'm saying there are too many people talking about it. So if you are a short-term trader or hedge fund, maybe hop on the narrative is important. But we as the VC, we try to use the narrative as just one component of our investment due diligence. It's important to understand narrative, but we try to avoid invest on the narrative as a VC perspective. So I think narrative is important, but narrative is not always a great thing. Depends on your investment profile, I would say.
I would say, it's exactly same to every other cycle. If you look at the past cycles, this is the crypto, how it works. Everything is moving so fast. But in this cycle, I do believe there's a huge change that the Bitcoin will be a long bull market, but for the other altcoins, no matter what you are talking about, which sector you are talking about, there will be much shorter life cycle. So you definitely see it's overhyped for any topic you are talking about. You will see it, but I do believe the life cycle will be shorter. And if you are not getting listed, if you're not getting enough fundings, you get into trouble. So I think the cycles are kind of changed.
Makes sense. Okay, great. Let's move on. I want to double click maybe into Asia, some of the points that Steve had mentioned, right? And the way I want to frame this question is, crypto is obviously inherently global from day one, which means that dominant projects could theoretically come from anywhere, right? Like it's not unheard of for projects from the Philippines, which is where I'm from, to come launch their product and be competitive at a global scale. But I do think this is both a challenge and opportunity specifically for Asia-based teams where, as I mentioned, it has never been easier to launch a global product. But also, I think the argument for localization is a little bit more unclear in Web3 versus Web2. And so I guess the question for y'all is, what opportunities do you see in Asia? And what types of projects do you feel make sense to be built from founders in this part of the world?
Maybe I'll touch upon compare the Japan and Korea markets a little bit with the U.S. market. So to say about Asia market, I think U.S. is a little bit all about Bitcoin ETF at the moment. Means that a lot of financial institutions with the Bitcoin ETF, I think that's a kind of big component. I don't mention that amazing builders in San Francisco, many other regions in the United States, they're building amazing stuff. But I think if I pick the one thing, I think a Bitcoin ETF is a big kind of components in the US market. Compared to that, I would say Japan, as you know, Japan is the country that has the biggest IP in the world. I think out of top 10 IP in the world, the 7 or 6 of them are Japanese IP. So IP means content, and then everyone knows that crypto lacks content and consumer products. So I think a lot of builders in Japan actually building around IP and gaming at the moment, and then you're gonna see a lot of the real first product out of big gaming companies, Square Enix, Sega, and etc. They're gonna release the first Web3 games this year. So that's something that. Even though those are the amazing gaming company, but that will trigger the entrepreneurs to build the Web3 native games in the region. Compared to that, South Korea, as you know, Reuters said a month ago, I think 70% of Bitcoin trading is out of Asia markets, and then out of 70%, big portion is out of South Korea. So South Korea, I think retail people are very trading savvy, and then they know very financial literacy. So they are very good users of DeFi projects. So to understand that, I think building the DeFi projects doesn't have to be, in South Korea. Many South Korean entrepreneurs are building the company in Singapore. But I think South Korean people understand how to grab their users in trading perspective. So DeFi projects might be the good one that entrepreneurs in South Korea will build. I'll pause here.
Yeah, totally agree. I think Asia, there's a huge consumer base, billions of consumers, and then I think in terms of building applications, some of the biggest super apps all from this region, be WeChat or Alipay. So actually the other day I went to a Tong event. There's a lot of developers developing that kind of mini apps on the Tong ecosystem, which I thought is quite interesting because they leverage their experience doing mini games or payment, these kind of use cases where they already build great products in the past. Now it's just to make transition into Web3. So I think it's very natural for these engineering talents. And other than that, I think there's also great opportunities to build a non-US dollar stablecoin because amongst the Asian countries, there's a lot of natural flow on trade and also on payment. Between Hong Kong and Singapore and Philippines, for example, you mentioned. I think there's a lot of remittance kind of needs. If you can bring all of that on chain, it solves a lot of the hassle that still exists today. I think there are many areas that can be quite exciting for Asia.
So if you look at the past most successful crypto companies based in Asia, especially China, you may see the largest exchanges, the largest miners, the mining companies, and I do believe they will still be quite successful. And if you are working in this field, I think there's great opportunity. Besides that, I agree with the two gentlemen mentioned about the gaming sector in Asia will be quite good, because historically the Asian companies are really good at develop great games in the world, and they can really build really nice content and attract the traffic. And I do see there's great Web3 games are coming, especially at the festival. You can also check out. There's great games over there.
Actually, one thing I wanted to say is tokenization is also, I think, is going to be a good opportunity in Korea, Japan. Quickly saying, the Sony Bank in Japan, they already released the tokenized the money market fund and tokenized real estate 3 times and all oversubscribed. Plus, regulators in Japan is very, very, very favorable to the tokenization because of the biggest financial institution in Japan, Mitsubishi and etc. They are the main drivers of the country's kind of economy, and then they are very bullish on STO and RWAs. That's why RWA token projects might be the good in Japan. Also in South Korea, the largest security company made a lot of move to make the favorable environment for the RWA kind of space. I'm not sure whether entrepreneurs have a chance to work with the financial institution, but if they do, I think there are a lot of opportunities in that sector.
I think the answers here illustrate that there is so much diversity in Asia that if your project doesn't find a natural fit in one market in Asia, then you're dead. There's no point trying to globalize your app for other users because you have so much differentiation in terms of psychological risk taking. For example, I've heard that Japan is a little bit more risk averse in some areas, while other people are more degen in other areas, and you also have different income levels as well. So I think trying to localize your app is a mistake. I think it's better to much more for entrepreneurs to pick a target first, a particular market, a particular type of user, and then if you don't get product market fit, then you're not going to get it anywhere else. Just close your project and go away. What you get in Asia is definitely there is so much momentum behind gamifying right now. I think SocialFi is a dead kind of initiative anywhere in the world. No one's really interested, but GameFi definitely is. And you just mentioned Ton, for example, access to monetization of a game through your phone, through an embedded wallet, I think is very, very smart and innovative because it just takes away the barrier of setting up your wallet and things like that. So I think that's really interesting. You'll have more mobile gaming coming out of this area, this space coming very soon. And there's more innovative gaming chains coming out as well. They have the attitude of being like a console launching, like a PS5 launching with a landmark game with them. So these gaming chains are coming out more this year. They have partnerships with top developers who are building real innovative new kinds of games. So they have a different mentality. Rather than launching a chain and then hoping someone builds on them, they have a different mentality. So you have different kinds of sophisticated games coming out this year as well, which is quite exciting. So I think there's a lot of variety coming out from Asia, all different, all targeted towards different kinds of users, and different mobile, different kind of playing styles as well. So I think GameFi right now in Asia is very, very hot.
Great. Let's move on, guys, and maybe talk about a few topical trends. Bunch of you guys mentioned AI, so maybe we can start there. I mean, this is obviously the big tech story, even outside of crypto for this and last year. I'm sure many folks in the audience have been reading about AI, studying AI, have used tools like ChatGPT. And I would say on the builder side, at least from a CMT perspective, we've been seeing a lot of projects that sit at this intersection of AI and crypto. I think to Bala's point, some of it makes sense. You know, there's definitely ways that projects and products can unlock value using both of these technologies. There's also some stuff that, in my very humble opinion, doesn't make so much sense and feels a little bit more narrative driven. And so I'm curious, what do you guys think are the natural intersections between these two technologies, between AI and crypto? What do you think makes sense in this space?
So I think one area that I think is AI crypto makes sense is around content creation. So the IP sector is a very murky, and then with the AI, with the deep fake, and then all this content creation, you have no idea whether it's who create this. So if you use the blockchain's true competitive advantage, which is offer the immutability and then transparency and trackable kind of system, if you apply this to content creation, you can make a trackable system that where this IP content is come from. So there is one project called the Story Protocol in the United States. They are working with this IP and AI component together. I think that part makes sense. And broadly speaking, I think AI blockchain can work together for sure. My one sentence, the thesis around it is, blockchain offers immutability and then database kind of system. AI basically increase the productivity. So if you any sector that combine these two components, I think AI crypto intersection makes sense.
Well, yeah, for us, we definitely like projects where there's like a real AI use case where it makes the product better and more efficient. For example, we recently looking at a project called Space and Time. They are like a data analytic project like Dune. But then anyone who uses Dune, you know, it's not easy for like someone who's not like an engineer to track all this blockchain data. So what they introduce is they have a kind of like a chat agent where you can just ask, say, oh, can you show me in the past year which are the Ethereum wallets that has 100 ETH with down 5 transactions, and then the tool can generate the outcome that you want. I think this is like a example where I think crypto projects can use AI tools to make your product offerings better and more efficient than just driving on the AI hype. Other than that, I think there's a lot of projects focusing on proof of humanness. I think that's a very important topic to tackle. Well, like Steve says, there's so many like deep fake kind of data out there. So I think it will be important to know what is coming out from AI and what's coming out from a human being. So yeah, there are many projects tackling this issue, and we agree that that's an area that we need to pay attention on.
So I'd say the best use case of AI in blockchain are actually the most boring ones. Everyone tries to spin up AI as something exciting and fun and consumer-based, but actually it's probably better on the back end. So one use case I've seen recently is the ability to use AI to identify toxic order flow on decentralized exchanges. So this means like things like bots, sandwich attackers, high-frequency traders, when they try to extract value from decentralized venues, if you have AI monitoring the order flow, you can identify and charge different fees to these different kinds of these different orders. So then you can make up more of a dynamic marketplace, so you can prioritize human traders on your decentralized exchange, as it were. So this is happening on the back end, and it just makes things better for the traders, makes the price more efficient, it makes it more transparent and fair for everyone. But it's not exciting, it's quite boring. So I think there's other use cases like this for AI where we shouldn't try to spin it and make it fun and exciting. But everyone tries to because there's money in this. But really, there is a lot of use cases for AI, but it's very nerdy, like very boring, unfortunately, for most people.
I believe the best part would be where you can use the blockchain technology to motivate people to allocate the computing resources in the AI world. There's a lot of debate about how AI needs the computing power, they need to consume lots of energy, which is quite similar to the Bitcoin mining sector if you look at this. A lot of people are saying Bitcoin mining only consume energy but never produce anything, right? It's only produce Bitcoins. So there's a group of people working on this saying if we can, instead of mining Bitcoins, but you can mine other coins, and that computing power will be used in the AI projects, in these models learning. So there will be lots of, I think there will be great opportunity if there's any layer 1 chain that can solve that problem. I think that will be the most successful chain in the future.
Makes sense. Great. Let's talk about another trend, which is Bitcoin, I think it's fair to say, right? This is one of the biggest stories of the year. Obviously, the US Bitcoin ETFs were approved in January. Inflows, I would argue, have been healthy. And some would argue that we're in something of a Bitcoin renaissance now on the back of ordinals at the start, but now we have layer 2s, NFTs, DeFi, and other new primitives, all for Bitcoin, right? And so my question for you guys is, maybe for the investors, what opportunities are you spending time on in the Bitcoin space? For the builders, I'm curious, how are you positioning your business to take advantage of this new flourishing ecosystem?
Okay, I can start. I think Bitcoin ecosystem definitely very important. If you look at just the market cap, it's over $1 trillion. If you look at all the development on Ethereum, be it DeFi, layer 2, all the things, I think if you apply that to the magnitude of $1 trillion asset class, any project would be very exciting. So for us, we are a big supporter of the Stacks ecosystem. We're an investor in them 2 years ago in trust machines and the related projects, DeFi, payment, etc. So it's great to see that they are pushing ahead the development, but they're more like a US-driven community, whereas in Asia, actually we see there's a lot of new ideas coming up, like being layer 2 or data availability. Even the ordinal movement you mentioned started kind of from here. So I think we do see like there's like growing very bright prospects for Bitcoin-related projects here, and then we're actually spending a lot of time looking at Asian projects on Bitcoin.
Yeah. If I take one step further, I'm very looking forward to Bitcoin DeFi summer, or that what we saw on Ethereum a few years ago. Yeah, I know a little stretch statement, but as people mentioning, I think a lot of people working on Bitcoin layer 2, or even some people are trying to build a lending market on a Bitcoin ecosystem. So just market cap wise, the TBL, how much money is captured in the DeFi space, mostly Ethereum at the moment. If you compare to that amount to the Ethereum market cap, and then if you compare it with that with the Bitcoin market cap, the opportunity on the DeFi area on Bitcoin is just humongous. And then as you notice, the Bitcoin holder is very different from ex-Bitcoin holders. They're very loyal. They don't want to. Many of them, they don't want to sell the Bitcoin. And if any infrastructure or the protocol that they build that allow the people to use their Bitcoin to anything to DeFi, I think that's going to be amazing. So I know technological-wise, it's a little still a few months or maybe a year away. But as a VC, we want to definitely invest into the amazing founders who try to build the product in the space.
Okay, so I'm bullish on Bitcoin DeFi as well. And it is following a very similar playbook to what happened in Ethereum a couple of years ago. So we had massive fragmentation of users and liquidity on Ethereum. All these L2s, and we're still getting it now, right now. There are like probably, 100 or 200 L2s right now on Ethereum. And users and liquidity are moving from one to another based on incentives. And we will see the same thing in Bitcoin DeFi, without a doubt. Because even right now today, I think there's about 30 or 40 L2 projects on Bitcoin. And I spoke to my friend yesterday, and he said, you know what, he's running a roll-up as a service project on Bitcoin, and he's working with another 10 teams to launch another 10 projects, which are all L2s on Bitcoin. So where's the liquidity going to go? Which project will it go to? So there'll be some winners, and there'll definitely be some losers as well. And what we'll see, just like on Ethereum, is now we have new projects coming to aggregate liquidity on all these L2s on Ethereum. So I think the next stage on Bitcoin DeFi will be also some aggregators. They'll try to aggregate liquidity and users again. So I think it's a very similar playbook. But who's going to win, who's going to lose? This is everyone's game. Who's going to actually be the winner of the Bitcoin DeFi summer? It'll come soon, I'm sure.
Right. As we do have lots of miners clients, including the listed ones, we do get a lot of inquiries from those between Bitcoin layer 2 projects coming to us asking for support for TVLs or investment, etc. I do feel quite exciting about this. But personally, I do feel there's kind of big difference between ETH layer 2 or ETH DeFi solutions to the Bitcoin solutions. For the Bitcoin holders, they never want to sell. They want to hold it. And no one can touch my coins. So if you can come up with really innovative solutions for the Bitcoin holders, then you may win the market. Otherwise, it's pretty hard. I do feel Bitcoin layer 2 might be a good test for the project that can bridge the CeFi and DeFi. It's not really a pure DeFi solution. So because maybe you need the custodians or centralized institutions to help you to custodian your coins, etc. Not really purely everything on chain. I think that'd be a good solution, might be.
Makes sense. Great. I know we're just coming up on time here. Maybe the last trend that we can touch on is meme coins. I think this is another category that seems to have captured the zeitgeist of today, right? Some people are calling meme coins the NFTs, but of this cycle, if that makes sense. From dog with hat to degen to slurf, I think was mentioned in the previous panel. The creativity in the space is endless, but I think it also begs the question, how should investors, both institutional and retail, think about these assets? And so I'm curious for you guys, for an institutional investor, does exposure in things like meme coins make sense in any capacity? Why or why not? I'm also curious, Adrian, if your customer base comes to you and says, I want to deploy 1% into Joe Biden, what do you say to these guys?
I never do that suggestion. Yes, so because we do have my clients are really huge, like institutions or family offices. I never suggest them to deploy any capital in the meme coin field. But personally, I do understand. It's very similar to the shell company. In Hong Kong Stock Exchange, there's a lot of shell companies. Like meme coins is quite similar to that kind of story. But in terms of investment, I never suggest the clients to do that. But of course, there are quite exciting projects or meme coin projects. And if my clients really like them, okay, go ahead, we can provide the services. But we never suggest that.
I would say three things. One thing is, I think it's good if you use it to bring the funding to build a community, or really like a funding to build something else with the community. I think that's a good purpose. Second point is, I think meme coin I see more on big picture. I think this is social phenomena. Maybe I'm 40 years old, so I'm not too MZ, but I think this young generations with the meme coins interest and the GameStop, yes, that is a bad part, but I think maybe this is something that new generation want to get together and then want to deploy their capital into, and they feel the community vibe and something. So I consider as necessary social phenomena we have to understand to making a good investment based on what's happening in more macro level. And third point is, I'm a little worried that people get too excited about meme coin. Friends sitting next to you said, oh, I earned 100K yesterday because I traded meme coin XYZ. Again, in crypto space, as a full-time investors, I'm in this space because I'm excited about this technology transforming the way that we transact. And then I'm excited about the amazing builders, entrepreneurs who's doing the bear market, spending a lot of hours without getting any pay, try to amazing build the products. So meme coin is fun, and yes, I understand. But I don't want the people to get too excited about it and then earn too much money or lost too much money. So you leave the crypto space, which I believe is going to be way bigger than now and in this bull cycle.
Well, for us, I think a lot of the smaller cap tokens outside of the top 50, being like AI or DeepIn tokens we talked about earlier, those are very similar to meme coins to some extent. So I agree with Steve that this is like a more like cultural movement trend. So that's something we do have started to have allocation to, like 1 to 3%, just like capturing the altcoins. We also want to capture this movement.
Makes sense. Bilal, any parting thoughts?
Yeah, very quickly. I think meme coins, you have to be early and you have to be very fast. And that's the two things which institutional investors are not. They're very slow to make decisions and they're very slow to deploy capital as well. So there's no way that they can invest successfully in meme coins. They will become the exit liquidity for the degens. So no way, stay away.
What do you think, Ozzy? We want to hear from you too.
I agree with Balal's point. I think we want exposure to the space. We probably won't do it ourselves. We'll invest in a manager that does that exclusively or something of that form. But I think we're at time. Thank you, everyone, for joining the panel. And please join me in giving a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you.